I'm in.
Okay. The meeting got shut down, so I had to reopen it.
Well, everybody will get in, I'm sure.
We're back.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, guys.
We are.
What's going on, Stu?
Hey, Ed. Hey, Ed.
Me too.
How come I don't have a picture?
Can you send me a direct link again, Bill? Hang on, I gotta send Bill the link.
Stu, you should be able to turn on your video down the lower left, at least on mine, it's that way.
Mine's the top right corner. You get a little blue
Move
eye.
your mouse down to the bottom. There you go.
You're a mastermind, Ed. Thank you. Turn those
Called many
lights on.
things.
Especially by Sally, I'm sure.
Especially what?
Especially by Sally.
Oh,
You remember her,
Yes.
don't you?
I do.
Did the town of Willington get a check from the feds yet? Anybody know?
I don't know.
I do not know. That was not, as of last meeting, they had not, I don't believe.
Just giving us our money back is basically all they're doing. Our tax money.
It's the way I look at it. We paid it, let's get it back.
Right.
We'll take it.
Yeah, that's how we felt about the PPP money or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah. That's right.
I didn't feel guilty about that. Just getting tax dollars
Nope.
back. Who else we waiting on? Bill Billyak gonna show up?
Yeah, I sent him an email. He's asking for the link and I sent it to him. I'm not sure why he hasn't popped on yet.
I'm surprised Mikey P's not here. I will text him.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, who's that? That's Bill?
Maybe? Does he need the-
Yeah, that's Bill. We got a quorum. Shall we?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
That's Bill Billyak in the bottom right corner. So we don't have minutes, but we weren't going to review them anyhow. So we'll do a call to order at 7:06. And I don't think there's going to be any general discussion. Do you? Anybody?
No.
Just
No.
us. All right, so let's jump right to it.
Yep.
CIP ARPA. What do you have to report to us, Stu?
Well, I attended my first meeting with ARPA and I wasn't introduced. I didn't meet hardly anybody because everybody kind of ran. So it was a little awkward, as a matter of fact. I have a bunch of information that I've read through. It's the same information that Alan's given out. Basically, there's a number of individuals represented at the table that want money. And the town, the committee's gonna prioritize those projects and the release of funds to those people. Fire and safety is looking at getting their money pretty quick. Like an emergency release of funding, which I thought was interesting. It seems appropriate that fire and safety should probably get their consideration. So we'll see what happens with that. There were no formal proposals given. There was a couple of pieces of paper handed in. Nothing was discussed though in terms of where we're going to go with this. They want to move quickly on getting the requests in and getting the money divided among the requisitioners. There's 4 categories: responding to public health emergency and negative economic impacts of COVID-19, premium pay, water and sewer infrastructure, and broadband infrastructure. Those appear to be the 4 categories for ARPA distribution. Basically, Christine said, whatever you, if what you submit helps the town get through a pandemic, then the committee will strongly support it. And that's basically all I got out of that. Christine is the chairman. I don't know her last name. Alan, do you know it?
Milos.
People know her better than I do. And she was supposed to put together some sort of requisition form. As of today, that hasn't been done. It's 2 weeks till our next meeting. So I think somewhere between now and then that'll be done. It would be nice at that next meeting to have a list of things that we've agreed on. 1, 2, or 3, or 10 things that we'd like to get money for. So the park seems to fit right into the formula for having a place where folks can go during the pandemic. The walking track, especially workout facilities and things like that. So that seems to fit right in with what the town's looking for.
Okay,
That's all I got.
all right. What
So
got them all, why did they get all excited about saying, let's use our CIP project for ARPA? And we don't have to do that, do we?
To use what project, Joe?
That CIP project?
Which is what?
That was Alan's idea for the roof over the exercise equipment.
Okay, we did talk a little, thank you for reminding me of that. The capital expenditure project, okay. I'm new to the public sector acronyms or Wellington acronyms. Capital expenditure project, and those monies, even though they're considered separate from this process, the town will absorb them because in essence, they're getting free money and they want to use it instead of taxpayer money for the CIPs. So they talked a little bit about both sides of their mouth, so to speak, in regards to, yeah, you got CIP projects, but we're going to use the ARP money for that. So if we want to reprioritize a CIP project, maybe put it off 2 or 3 years and put something else in as a higher priority, we would need to do that. We would need to tell the CIP committee that that's no longer a current project. And the problem with that, Joe, is if we leave it a current project, it's going to eat up, I don't know how they're going to allocate money, but if they say you got, 50 grand, 100 grand, and we use it up for a CIP project, we're basically done. So I think what I'd like to see this committee do is prioritize what needs to be done in Parks and Rec. And then go from there, and then we'll decide what we want to do with the CIP projects. And maybe they'll stay priorities, I don't know.
Mhm.
I guess that's up to us.
Are we all thinking that, what's your thought, Alan? Are we thinking that we might want to do the lights around the back of the walking path? So the walking path is lit now during the whole time the park's open?
That's what I think. Yeah. I think that we don't want our workout pavilion to be, what we ask for this. And Stuart already kind of mentioned it. If we don't say anything and they give it to us, then it might be taking away from something that is more needed. Right. So I think we all agree that there are a couple projects that are more needed. Oh, somebody's joining. And I think the biggest problem is the drainage. Now that's an actual problem down there. But the thing that we also really want are lights down there. And
Or both.
So I
Yeah,
had
right.
a long conversation with Christina Milos also, and she was kind of giving me a path to follow, if you will. I was asking a lot of questions. She said, you can apply for those things and you don't even necessarily need to withdraw the pavilion request, but you prioritize it. That was a key word. Stuart just mentioned it as well. You say in the request, we prioritize this, then this, and then they can see them all. And we don't necessarily have to take the pavilion off, but they would know that's one that we want the least.
Okay.
I called Knights Construction last week. I never heard back from them. Well, I should say, I talked to them. I was waiting to hear back from their manager or whoever, would talk pricing. They never got back to me. I drove down there this morning. The guy's not there. So I don't know when I'm going to hear from them. But I really wanted to come to this meeting with a number, a quote for fixing the drainage down there. I think that also matters because, if it costs $60,000, just as an example, to fix the drainage down there, they're not going to go for it. They might not go for anything else, whereas the lights might be more reasonable. Let's say that costs $20,000 or $30,000, That's
Okay.
my thoughts on it.
I can get a reasonable estimate on the install of the lights.
Are we talking about lights for the path?
Yeah,
Yes.
not as high as the ones in the parking lot, maybe something more around 10 feet. And more ornamental that give an apron of light. And they would stay on, I think, the inside part of the track, so you don't have to cross the track, but I don't know how much room is back there when I think about it. Between the dugout fence and the walking path, how much room is there right there?
So they
About 8 or
have,
10 feet.
yeah, there's actually a set of bleachers there. So there is room to put something there.
Okay,
I don't know what kind of work you'd have to do. Would you have to go under the dugout? Is it going to be a huge project to do something like that?
I think you start kind of behind home plate, there's already a box there for electric, and just spread out, the two directions. I've not been there, I mean, I've been there at night, but it's probably not that light on the end by soccer, right? There's no lights down there, really.
No.
So we kind of
Would
have to move that.
So we would go around the edges too, or the loop part.
I think
So
so.
the back of the track and then kind of curl them as well.
Right.
Okay.
I think probably coming
Does it
back
make
about
sense?
halfway is enough. Go ahead, Ed.
Does it make sense to use lights like the ones we have on the street there? Because can we get more bang for our buck by getting more light on that will spread onto the field as well, or does that not make sense?
Well, I mean, we could go the other way and aim them back, get on the other side of the walking path and aim them back towards the field. We could do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Because the more we can shed on the field, why not? The more light we can get on that field, what the heck?
Yeah. Yeah, I can look at it both ways.
What's the
other thing
difference in
too
cost, you
is
think,
I
for
think
that?
if we can have the lights on the outside of the track, you're not going to have them on the inside on the field. I don't think you want the poles on the field anywhere near that. So you put them on the outside of the track aiming in. You don't have to worry about that aspect of it. And maybe we get a little more light out there that can be used for other, just for people to use the field, even if they get an extra half an hour out of it or something.
Sure.
I don't think there's enough room on the outside of the track. The fence is probably 2 feet away from the edge of the track, I would say.
Okay. Is that
Well,
the edge of our property, that fence?
I don't know.
I
Yeah,
don't
either.
know. It drops off at some point, goes downhill.
There's about 4
We have to
feet
take-
after the fence before the drop off.
Okay. I could look on the print. I'll look on the map, the print.
Those poles are pretty far. I mean, they're somewhat far apart, so there aren't that many that you'll need. I don't know. I'm just thinking it may not be quite. We should check it out. That's all.
Yep, so the parking lot poles have a wider spread with less light. And the poles on basketball and the playscape and all that, they have a little bit, it's a lot more light in a smaller area. So if we're just looking to light that walkway, what I gotta do is take the print down to my lighting guy at Beacon and just ask him to give us a foot both ways. So I will do that.
Okay. That'd be
That's
Another
easy.
thing
Thank
to
you.
another thing to think about is the electric bill. If we do go with big lights that hit the field as well, our electric bill could end up going up another, $1,000 or whatever it might be. So it's once we have the two numbers and we compare them, I think that's something we need to talk about. We might be talking about extra $60 a month if we use the smaller lights that are just for the path.
I'd like to get back to the drainage issues at the compound. I was talking to Alan about it. The ones I'm aware of, because I use the track, and the track on the side of the commuter parking lot, I don't know what direction that is very wet. And in the cold months, it freezes up and it doesn't thaw out. So actually it's treacherous over there. And I end up walking on the infield around that area until I get to the other side where the sun hits. So I don't know what's blocking the sun there, if it's the trees on the commuter parking lot side. It probably is. And then Alan said there's some drainage issues in the middle of the compound, but I'm not too sure about that.
Just the grass area, I would say in between the little league shed and the workout area and the basketball court. That whole area of grass, there's a problem. It's not, I might not see it as much because, when you can obviously see the track and the workout area isn't a 2-inch puddle. You can see that. You may not be able to see it in the grass. So I don't know how bad it is by comparison, but there's a problem there as well.
There's definitely
Do
issues
we-
there because when they dug the piers for the batting cage, those pier holes were full of water right up to the top. So there's a high water table there.
So
Okay.
who would fix that? Who do we go to and get it? How much, what kind of, do we get an estimate? I would assume, obviously.
I was trying to get that from Knight Construction. I'm not even sure if they do that sort of job, but I figured I would start there and ask them. That I don't know if this is going to be, this enormous cost, or if it's something manageable. Maybe we only do certain spots. I honestly have no idea. That's why I wanted to talk to the guy and kind of get a gist of what the job
would think you-
encompasses.
I would, I would think if you dug like a 2 foot wide trench down a certain depth and run it out to the edge of the property and fill it with gravel and cover it with soil and grass and all that again. I mean, I don't know. I'm no expert on this, but I think it's something along those lines where
Curtain
they
drain.
run some curtain drains. Yeah, that's the term I was looking for. Curtain drains, and it can't be an, I don't see it being an enormous cost, but obviously it'll cost some money, but
Don't we have a retention
Um,
pond right on the other side of the parking lot? Mikey, isn't there a retention pond there, kind of?
There is, I've never seen water in it.
That's probably where we'd have to run a drain back to.
well, there's a retention pond on the far end of the field, just beyond the soccer field down below.
But there's one in the other
And that
side of
was
the
in-
parking lot too. That's where the drainage from the middle of the field goes to.
Near the three-phase pole.
Okay.
Three-phase
Right.
electric pole.
Oh, yeah, I know where you're talking about. Right,
Yeah.
right. Across from the pavilion.
Yep, so that was done purposefully, right? That, they did is it called the swale or whatever that goes down the middle of the field and drains into that retention pond?
Right.
That's, I don't know, that's a
All right,
long way
so
away from the
We
north
need
end.
to get an expert out there. We need to get an expert and get some estimates, but, so do we have any idea, Stu, how much money we might be able to, might be allocated towards us, or we can ask for?
That was not even approached. There's 1.7 million, I believe, available.
Okay,
And first on the list is fire and safety, and I think they're talking about an ambulance, and so there's some pretty hefty stuff in there. But I think there's plenty of room for us to come up with something that is attractive to everybody and necessary.
yeah. I think an
The
ambulance
drain-
runs about 200,000.
The drainage seems pretty necessary to me. You got to fix the field before we start investing in all kinds of stuff down there.
Right,
Like to feel good with a good rain, we could still have a soccer game, we could still use the track. Right now, it's really, you can't use that track in many, many cold months and after a big rain.
If we're digging for lighting, maybe we combine it with the drainage problem.
Yeah,
Kill two birds.
I think.
Well, we
Mike
might as well
did
ask
that
for the
work.
whole 1.7 million. He'll fight us for it.
Knights, I think, know the site because they did all that, the prep work for the field, didn't they? Wasn't that Knight Construction that got that contract? Pretty sure it was.
They did the first, they were there, they did part of it, and then we switched to Putnam Welding.
Okay. So Al, maybe that's a good idea. Call Putnam Welding.
did anybody engineer that field? Is there anybody that helped us with that in the past? In
Who's
terms
our-
of drainage and stuff?
Just might have been,
Carlos, Carlos
Yeah,
I think you
designed it.
you rely mostly on the excavators to do all that. They know what they're doing when
Okay.
that whole side of the field by the workout area, if you recall, it's all clay. We got it all free, but it's clay. And we had to stop working there for quite a while when it rained a few times because that clay does not give up water.
yeah,
And
no drainage.
machinery kept getting stuck. So we had to stop work there for quite a while. So that whole end of the field has got an issue.
Uh-huh.
Thank God we took that free clay.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there anyone thought that maybe the track should be paved? Is that a thought?
I don't know. I think that cinder stone or that stone dust is pretty nice.
I think if water's coming out of the ground and flowing over the track and freezing, you're gonna get it whether it's paved or not. You gotta get that water to go somewhere. Hopefully with a curtain drain or possibly elevating the track and that end of the field,
Right.
maybe a little more. That's why Knight, you gotta talk to somebody like Knights or somebody or Putnam Welding to see. Explain what's going on. They might come up with a solution.
There you go.
Okay. I'll try and contact Putnam Welding while I wait for the Knights to get back to me.
Pester Knights a couple times. Call them again.
So I guess the next thing that we need to do is, it sounds like we kind of decided that we want to do the draining and the lighting prioritized over the pavilion, over the workout area. So before the next meeting, should we come back with numbers?
I can get a lighting number and see if you can get Knights to give us a budget for the drainage or some kind of an idea.
Okay.
I'm sure it's all of 50 grand, Mike. What do you think?
Yeah, I would guess. It might be smarter to do that portion before the workout pavilion anyway, because if you're gonna be digging down there, you
Right.
might changing elevations and you don't want your workout area to suddenly be a hindrance. Right now, it's just machines glued to the ground with concrete. If you put a building up on it, then you gotta think about maybe moving it, or all of a sudden the headroom becomes an issue.
So we're gonna say number 1 is drainage, number 2 is walking lights, number 3 is a pavilion roof. Does that sound right? Are there
Yeah.
any other fields that we need to do anything to? We always focus on River Road because I know it's the nicest field, but everything else is okay?
I'll be honest, I've never even walked any of the other fields.
Oh my
I
God.
don't know.
Aren't you the rec director?
Well, they're, they're
What's the
on
field
school
though that the
property.
girls, do the girls play softball on the field at school that behind or near the
At all?
school?
I believe they
school?
do, yeah.
School team
All
probably.
So the Hall School
We should take a
softball
look at
team
it
plays
because-
there, I think.
I mean, maybe they need some, if there's something we can do to help them out, help out that field. I've heard some bad things about it over the years. They, feel that they're basically treated like second-rate citizens. And if we have some funds, the availability of these funds, maybe there's something we can do to help improve the conditions of that field. That's all. Maybe we should take a look at it or talk to the coach or something.
They did call me. They called me a few months ago to ask me if I wanted to give them a price for fixing the stairway that goes down to that lower field. I noticed it hasn't been fixed yet. I said I couldn't do it at the time. So I don't know if maybe they're looking for somebody to do it sort of on the cheap, or
That's a
Well,
good one.
maybe
though.
we should at least, we should look into, seeing what we can do, because that would be nice, the stairs. Maybe the field needs some new soil, or I don't know, the fencing needs repair. I don't know. I'm just saying, did we ever
gonna
get the
jump in.
backstop? Go ahead.
So, I had a discussion with Phil Stevens just a couple weeks ago. I was talking to him about the Miracle Field, and I asked him, potentially, hey, what about that lower field, that Hall School? So he told me there's a lot of things up in the air right now. Potentially a new school, potentially, if not
Oh.
that, a huge renovation of Hall School, which would mean, he's talking about they might have to put a parking lot down there, and they might have to take out that whole field to make the whole thing level up to the school. So that's the only thing that I would say is we don't really know what's going on down there. If we spend money and we fix up a softball field and build stairs, and then 6 months from now they go, hey, we're gonna have to tear the whole thing out, I don't know, we're gonna feel pretty bad about that.
Yeah, wasted money.
No, I agree. You're completely correct, and we should hold off until we know more. What about the field behind the town office building?
Well,
Is there anything we can do
that one's
there?
in good shape there. My plan was to put those clay bricks in before this season started.
Yep.
And I mean, that's something that we should be able to afford anyway. you know, just by
Did they move,
raising the.
did they ever move the backstop back?
No,
They
I
did
don't
not.
think so.
Do it?
So the Anthony was telling me that he had conversations about it with Maureen, but that was never going to happen anyway, because right in back of that backstop is the property line. They would have to move the entire fence onto somebody else's property. And apparently there is not great relations there with the neighbor. So it's not like they're gonna just give 8 more feet of land. So I don't think that's ever gonna happen.
Okay. I think everybody sees River Road as the public park anyhow. You know, the
And
spot that is most used by everybody.
And that,
Yeah,
that
but
baseball
the-
field's in good shape too. You know,
Yeah.
it's, I just cause it's one of those situations where also just because we have money doesn't necessarily mean we have to spend it. You know what I mean? Like that's a good field. We plan on doing the clay bricks and stuff like that. I don't think we should, go crazy and say, well, let's try and do all sorts of stuff that we don't really need to do to it. You know?
Well, I understand that. I don't disagree with that, but if the fields, if we need to move they've been talking about moving that backstop since my kids played there. And I wonder if some kind of, if we have some funny money that we might be getting from the feds, I wonder if we could talk to the neighbor, maybe negotiate an easement or something like that. I can, whatever, and then get permission to move it back. We pay him $5,000 or something like that, and we get an easement. We'd be able to bump it back because they don't use that property back down there. It's not interfering with them at all that I'm aware of. I'm just throwing out ideas. I'm not
Yeah.
saying, if everyone thinks I'm crazy, that's fine. We don't have to, but things can be done, and they might be willing to go for it.
You
So
don't get what you don't ask for. That's true.
That's
Right.
true. I heard a story about how foul balls get hit into the woods back there. And I mean, that's very far away from their house, And so the baseball players would go into the woods to get the balls, and then the property owners would run over and say, it's my property, you're not allowed on it, get out. So they don't get the balls back.
Who's the property owner? Isn't that, the people sold, those are new owners in the last 10 years or so. I forget who used to live there. Right next to this town hall. He was, I forget his name. He was active in town politics and stuff.
McCoo?
He's a good guy.
Not McCoo.
No. He was on
We
the
never-
solid waste advisory committee with, what's that? Anyway, whoever, he sold and moved out, and so now we have new owners, and maybe something could be done with them. I mean, I could just ask them, if somehow send a letter, a nice letter, and just throw it out there if they'd be willing, but we'd have to agree to do something before I even consider sending a letter, I guess. So we can think about it and maybe talk about it the next meeting. But I was thinking we could maybe buy an easement, offer them $5,000, push it back, get permission to kids can pick up the baseballs, so we kind of get that smoothed out. Because no one needs that going on, and see if that works. I don't know, just an idea.
I put it on the
We can
list.
mold that.
Worth a try.
Right. I mean, it's good to have a long list and then pare it down.
So speaking with Alan, after the art meeting, I walked down and talked to him. He was talking to the first select woman about summer camp and what Alan perceives as a funding issue for that, and using less counselors and more volunteers. And I don't want to misquote you, Alan, but wasn't it Erica's response that you use art money for that?
She did suggest that we could ask for ARPA money to help alleviate some of the costs there. And I'm glad you brought that up because I totally forgot. I had a meeting with Jenny, and we both kind of agreed that we're going to ask for some extra money just to cover the cost of bringing in a third counselor. So that way there'll be a third adult there. And it's going to be a very low amount of money. Like I forgot what we said, maybe $4,000, something like that. And that one, I mean, we're thinking that will easily get, approved. It checks all the boxes,
But that's a one-time thing for summer camp, right?
It
Yeah,
is, yeah.
that's the problem.
But it's also
Well,
two departments making a request for something that's going to help the community and has, COVID and check, all those things. So we think that should go through pretty easily.
Okay.
So whoever's taking notes, do you have a dollar amount thinking for that?
I think you said 4,000.
Is that what you're
Yeah.
thinking?
I
Yeah.
wrote that down.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
This COVID.
Basically, that'll cover the cost of
Time.
one counselor.
Yep. That'd be full-time for 10 weeks of summer camp?
6.
6 you do, okay.
The minimum wage is going up to $14 in July. So,
Okay.
and then it'll be going up to 15 the year after that.
That's
So
ridiculous.
it makes a lot of these jobs that we, employ people much harder to deal with.
Makes it much more expensive to operate.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else we got? Anybody have ideas?
We've got a pretty good list. Drainage, walk lights, pavilion roof, stair to lower field, but I put a circle around that one and, Alan said maybe that goes away. Move backstop at TOB and instructor for summer camp. That's not a bad list.
Okay. Can we ask for any, I don't know, have an answer to this question. Can we ask for money in years 2 and 3? Like, can we ask for summer camp money now for years 2 and 3?
I don't know.
Can you ask Christina? Is that her name, Christine, that question, Alan?
Christina Milos. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can shoot her an email and see. So you're talking about maybe asking for $4,000 over
Yeah.
a period of 3 years.
Yeah,
Go ask
if
for
it's gonna go away,
$12,000.
next year
Right.
we'll be up the creek.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it's a one-time disbursement.
Don't know, I'm not sure. I think you have to use it by, I don't know the sunset on using it by. But I don't think, they're not even gonna audit us. There's no auditing process in place at this time. By the feds.
But I mean, we're getting this lump sum and then we're gonna disperse it amongst our various programs in the town, right?
Yeah, I hear you. I just know that 1 year of relief for summer camp is gonna go away, and next year we'll be sitting here saying, how are we gonna fund the summer camp?
No, I agree, but I think whatever we ask for, this is it. I don't think we're gonna have this meeting again a year from now and, hey, there's $500,000 left over to use.
So that would not be a
agree.
capital expenditure project, right? Labor, you can't put labor into that? A CIP project?
No,
I don't think so, no.
It's actual physical stuff?
right, yeah, it would be a project.
Okay. All right,
But I don't think there's a problem with asking, knowing that it's only gonna be a one-time offer, ask for it for a couple year cushion at least.
can ask.
I mean,
Yeah,
maybe they, even if they agree to it, maybe we put it into, a fund. Maybe fund's not the right word, a line item where we can only withdraw a certain amount per year. That way they've only given it to us once, but it can only be used for summer camp.
I'm sure somebody's got a list of rules of what we can and can't do.
You would, if you were gonna do that, you would just
Yeah.
ask for, if you were gonna do that, you just ask for 12,000.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
You only dole out 4 at a time.
Well, we can be creative and see if we get away with it.
Yep.
I know you need it.
Any other ideas for projects?
No, those are good ones.
That's a pretty good list. That exceeds $100,000 all day long.
At least, yeah, I think so. I think so.
How are they giving the money out? Is it based on the size of the town by population? Does anybody
That
know?
I'm not well versed in. Just looking at my
I'm sure
notes
it's
here.
somewhat complicated formula based on population and all that. Yeah. Yeah, I was reading about a town in Arizona that turned it down, and all the townspeople are ripping.
Huh.
They
Why
are
did they-
ripped
Why did they
because
turn
they
it
don't
down?
want. It's their rejection of everything going on in in the political world
Ah,
and COVID and everything. This
No
we don't want
mask.
it.
No mask
People are
mandates,
saying, "Wait a minute, we could have used this money." It's a town of 10,000 people. And
unmask our
they just,
kids.
they lost a lot of money. Anyway, whatever.
I don't know. To me, there's
That's
no
fine.
political motivation here. It's money that's being given up by it's not being given up by the government. There's no such thing as government money. It's our money. We might as well take it.
Right. That's right. Just returning it back to us.
Mm.
That's the way I look
After
at
they
it.
dipped into it pretty heavily, I'm sure.
So gentlemen, there are some rules associated with this, but I tell you, they look extremely flexible because the town is saying the same thing you're saying, Joe and Ed, which is let's grab the money and let's do what we can with it. And
Right.
I don't blame any of us
What
for
about,
thinking that way.
What about Wi-Fi down at the River Road?
I am totally against Wi-Fi at River Road. I'm fine with us
okay.
getting a cable down there so that we can look at the cameras, but that should not turn into a Wi-Fi hotspot. That is not for that. That
agree.
park is for,
I agree.
you
You
know,
don't need
being
people sitting
outdoors.
on Wi-Fi down
No.
there. I
no,
agree.
because you're gonna get people down there that are only there to download things they can't download at home because they have no internet at home. You're gonna get, I don't think it's smart.
I don't disagree with you.
Is the
I think you're
reception
right.
pretty
I
good down
agree.
there?
What do you
Is
mean?
it- is-
Oh,
is,
yeah, with LTE,
Cell
yeah,
phone reception pretty good?
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I know when I walk, I listen to my music and it comes in pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no problem. It's just, another perk, something free. I don't think there's any value to it.
No, but I think what I was also referring to was being able to have cameras down there so that we can see them at any given moment if someone wants to look to see what's going on.
Yeah, but the
all.
unfortunate part is they're gonna try and package all that together. So if we ask for the cameras, they're gonna put Wi-Fi on top of it. The library is a great spot to be a Wi-Fi hotspot. But to me, I don't want to see 10 guys sitting under the pavilion on their computers every day.
Couldn't we
doesn't
just
make
put in,
Yeah.
couldn't we just put in a real complicated password that wouldn't let them get you in?
1, 2, 3, 4 Wellington. Nah, because it's supposed to be free for everybody, Mikey.
All right, no problem. We can move on from that. That's fine. All right, well, I can't offhand. I just, to the extent we can do something to improve the town office building fields and River Road, whatever, I think we should see whatever, we should just go for it. So we could potentially grab up to 6 figures on this or more. And so let's, put our hand out just like everybody else.
Sure.
I'm worried now about the drainage, Al, because we were talking about putting in that pickleball court on the north side of that basketball court. Is that going to be trouble?
I think so. I walked down there right after we talked on the phone last time, and
Yeah.
I took some pictures of the snow, and we were talking about, you can see, frozen areas and stuff like that. It didn't honestly seem that bad to me. And I'm also wondering if maybe, you know how the basketball court is slightly raised up?
Yeah, pickleball.
I
would
mean,
be-
why can't they do that with pickleball too?
Yeah,
So
no,
even if there is
I
a
agree.
very slight drainage problem in that general area, if they can raise the whole thing up, you would think that it wouldn't be a problem after that, right? I mean, the water would just go off the court and then go down the slope.
Yeah. I mean, to Mike's point, Mike kind of said that earlier, that
Yeah.
may be the fix, just to raise that whole corner.
Yeah,
It's possible.
We're gonna look at drainage, so. the
Oh,
area-
Stu,
The area might be included anyways.
Yeah.
let me tell you. So you asked me a question about if they can throw, this year's CIP on there. What's to stop them from throwing on older CIPs? So Christina said that they can't do that because the money has already been earmarked from other sources. So it's like that project is already accounted for. That money is there for that project. So they're not going to take, the pickleball court and say, well, we're just going to throw this into the ARPA request as well.
But
That's
I think,
already,
I think the pavilion was approved, I think,
For ARPA.
for CIP.
Oh, was it?
they didn't tell me one way or the other. They just
Somebody
just
said that at
was
the
getting
meeting that it was approved. I
Oh,
asked
good.
Alan to check the list to see what was current. Where are we with years 1, 2, and 3? So still need to see that.
approved to be on the list, but not necessarily approved for the funds.
I might be using that term loosely. You might be right, yeah.
Okay. All right.
But we should know what's approved for this year. Do you guys think it's the pickleball court?
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
really last
That's it.
year, right? I mean, it was
So
approved
it-
last year for this year.
So it was
Okay.
explained to me like this. The project has been approved to an extent. They have a large chunk of money ready to give to us for that pickleball court. The next step is we need to have 3 bids come in to build that pickleball court. And then I go to the finance committee and I say, this is how much it's going to cost. This person, this person, this person. And then once that number is in, it goes to a town meeting where it gets
Right.
voted on. And then if the town chooses and they say, yes, let's put the pickleball court in, they write us the check for it. So it's like half approved, I guess you could say.
But
Right,
that might be moot because they'll say we're gonna pay for it with art money.
They can't do that. That's what Christina told me. Cause the money for
really?
that is from a
Okay,
different
all right.
source and it's already been like signed
It's
off on,
approved.
basically. Yeah.
I might doubt that, but I don't doubt Christine. She knows more than I do and stuff.
She's pretty sharp, but I bet that the local government is gonna finagle everything they can to not use their taxpayers' money.
That's right, Joe. That's what I think too. I think they're
Right.
gonna try to throw it into art money,
Right, and I don't think we should let them.
or at least not hurt our other projects.
Right. I think pickleball's a done deal. It was promised, it's CIP, and it was approved.
So we'll have to watch that, see what happens.
Yeah, we can't let them slip that in. And Christina is awesome. She was a great first selectman, and
I
she
can
is a
imagine,
very
yeah.
smart gal,
Yeah,
and I trust her.
I can see that. My one meeting with her, she's very gregarious and very steady.
Yep, she's a good person.
She's very nice. I asked her a lot of questions about just advice in general. She was very helpful.
Good for you, Alan.
All right,
So who's doing what? Alan's working on excavation, Joe's working on lighting.
right.
What else we got?
The
Who's gonna
pavilion roof,
work?
we've already got a price on, right? Did we think that was 25 or 20?
20.
20,
At the pavilion, you said? Pavilion, Jim?
yeah,
Okay.
the roof. Drainage is up for grabs.
Are we gonna work on the neighbor for the backstop?
We could, that'd be Eddie's. That's legal beagle.
Eagle Beagle.
Unless you just want to write a check, Ed.
Well, we need an easement, I think. It sounds like we need an easement.
I agree.
And easements can
So,
cost a
well,
few bucks.
I'm gonna wait till the next meeting. We'll talk about it then, a little bit more about what I'll do, but that's fine. I have no problem with that. And, okay, when you talk about the pavilion roof, you're talking about the pavilion down at the,
The
River Road?
exercise equipment, the over the
Oh, okay,
exercise.
because I
equipment.
got, all right. All right, yep, that's fine.
So I think the only thing we
Okay,
need pricing on
good.
is drainage. You know, maybe Eddie doing a little, legal sniffing around. And the lights, and I think that's tasks that we can all execute.
So we'll come back to the next
Okay.
meeting and then, well, I guess, well, we're kind of already on board with all the stuff anyway. I guess we'll just share our findings and then,
Right.
well, we do have to make the
That's fine.
decision of like what kind of lights we want and
I
how
will
much-
price both ways.
Okay.
Actually, what I'll do is it would be nice to throw some extra light on the field, but the height of those poles and the amount of light and the electricity it uses, I'm not saying may be prohibitive, but it may be easier to do like a 10 to 12 foot ornamental walking light. But I'll go
Okay.
take a look at the field and see what it looks like.
Okay.
Right.
Fair enough.
That's what you do.
is there
All right,
any
gang, I move that
other
we adjourn.
topics that we
Oh.
want to talk about for the next meeting, just so I can know, I can put it in the agenda? Just
I think I'm-
besides this?
I think I'm good, but if somebody comes up with something, an email would be great. If you get an idea, email Alan.
My next
Alright.
meeting is
2 weeks.
February 28th.
Yep.
As an FYI for you guys, February 28th at 1:30
For ARPA?
for ARPA, yeah. ARPA.
Okay.
And our next meeting's the same day, right? The Parks and Rec
Yes, it
Commission
is.
meeting? Yeah, so you'll have 2 meetings that day, Stu.
We'll have nothing to present on the 28th. Doesn't sound like we'll have anything to present on the 28th.
But are they giving us a deadline for a presentation?
Just an insinuation that they're gonna start talking about projects soon. The ones that want their quick money, like fire and safety, and I don't see the 1.7 getting chewed up that quickly,
Mhm.
but early
I
bird gets the
think we could-
worm.
We could probably give you a general list with some round numbers the day you go to the meeting. Even if we have to guess on the drainage.
Who's gonna give me that, Alan or you, Joe?
I think Alan and I will talk, come up with a list and put some numbers
All
on it.
right, appreciate that, thank you.
Okay.
And then we'll just get the form. Once we get that form, we can get the ball rolling.
Yup, yeah.
But that'll be a meeting that we all have to approve the amounts together. But for now, to get some budgetary numbers, and then Stuart letting them know these are budgetary numbers to a point. At least it gives them an idea of where they can spend money. I think we're peanuts compared to what, the whole number.
So in reviewing my notes, there is a comment here they made about taking 473,000 of CIP money out of ARPA. So they are looking at it. They
So
are
that
looking
was-
at it.
20,000 of ours for the roof.
So there's a good chunk of the 1.7 right there.
Yeah.
So and I have a feeling they're just gonna do it. The way they were, right, Erica was talking.
Doesn't seem right to me. It seems like that should go to a town meeting as well.
Well, those projects, like I say, those projects may not have been approved for the funds. They're just on the list. So they're just swapping them to a different list,
Right. But not the pickleball court.
not the
Pickleball court's a done deal. We're talking about the
Pickleball.
pavilion at 20 grand.
was approved for money.
Yep. All
So
right.
Alan, you should. Is that our only CIP then, the pickleball court, we think? You should ask Christine that question. Unless Joe knows the answer. I mean, I don't know.
I thought it was a 5-year program and we like extrapolated out 5 years, and I thought the last thing we wanted was like $500,000 for field lighting.
We have a list that we put in, but only the pickleball court was approved for money.
Right, but I mean, we go out 5 years with it, don't we?
We should have other projects in CIP awaiting approval for money.
Right,
I did ask about CIPs, Joe, and they mentioned the pavilion and the lighting as being on there. So,
That was something they talked about at an ARPA meeting?
yeah, I will ask Eric on the side what's on there.
Okay,
I think after the meeting, because we just got sidetracked so many times.
I think we can find it, whatever the CIP 5-year plan was. I'm sure we.
I've seen it.
presented-
I've seen it in my computer, and then when Stu was in my office, I couldn't find it. I was going through it for like 20 minutes trying to find it. Like, I have no idea where it is.
I bet there's a record of it somewhere. I'll look through my old emails.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay.
So February 28th is the date. Whatever somebody can get me, I'd appreciate it.
All right,
And-
we'll have something.
Sounds good.
All right, gentlemen, it is, I don't know what it is. What is it? 7:58. You guys want to keep going, or are we going to adjourn? Somebody
Go to
moves to
adjourn.
adjourn. Eddie moves to adjourn.
I moved.
Second? Who's my second?
Second.
Stuart. All right, guys. That was a good meeting. 7:58. I'll start,
Thanks a lot. Take
I'll get
care.
on the guy tomorrow for lighting. And Alan, you make some phone calls,
Thank you.
pester them until they tell you to stop calling them.
Will do.
All right.
All right.
All right,
Thank
take
you.
care, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good
Yeah.
night.